What's up, guys? K Woods here to bring you my review of Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 5, Episode 4, and this week's episode was called The Soft War. And overall, I gotta say, I like this episode, and we're getting close to the end of this Alderaan arc because usually they ended either in trilogies or in a four episode parts of a certain arc within the season. So we're getting close. Next week should be the last episode, and we'll move on to something else. So in the beginning of this episode, we start off with a bang because the droids were just patrolling the city. Then all of a sudden, the rebels they ambushed the droid army, and the droid army they couldn't do anything. It was a swift attack. They were all being destroyed. They couldn't counterattack or anything, and they were all taken out quickly. It was a swift attack, and I kind of liked that. And what happened was that after the whole battle, Steela she rised up and she basically made a speech. And what was cool about this was that while all that was happening, Ahsoka and Lux they were putting holograms around the city so that Steela's message would get be heard by everybody. And her message, she was basically just talking to the people how they need to rally up and they need to take their freedom. And Alderaan is being captured by the Separatists, and that they need to free their true king, King Dendup, and they need the people's support pretty much. And we see some of the people are getting there because the support of the people is very important. They get some of the people, but they need everybody in order to defeat the separatists. Because the rebels they can't do it on their own. They're not that many in numbers compared to the droid army. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, the separatist king he's pretty much decide doesn't know what to do, and we see the general of Alderaan. He pretty much he's in charge of the royal army, and then we see the new droid general that Count Dooku sent, and we really get to see the differences between droids and people because droids they only think are kind of narrow-minded. They only see things in one direction. They only want the main objective, and they don't really think outside of the box like how people do. Which is why clone troopers they're superior to droids. They just don't have that instinct. To do things their way. And the general was talking about this, how they need to possibly negotiate with these rebels so that they can end all these attacks. And unfortunately, the droid he was like, oh no, we need to crush them, we need to destroy them as soon as we can, send all of the troops in and all that. And then so there's a huge difference. But the king, he was like, we're not going to negotiate with them, and we're going to execute King Dendup so that this whole rebellion will stop. And the rebels hear about this, and this is where we get a little conflict between Steela and Saw, because Saw believes that they should go right now and save the king, but Steela believes that they should wait so that there will be a bigger impact, so that the people can see that they're a legitimate group, of rebels. And pretty much and I pretty much predicted this from my other review of episode 4, that that Saw he would do things his way, that he would be very resistant to his sister's orders, and he pretty much Saw decided to be Batman, to go on his own. And because this the way how Saw was just dressed, and is how like it was night that he was really all stealthy. It just reminded me a lot with Batman. And so when Saul met the king, because he was able to talk to him, and we find out more about King Deadup, and we find out he's a really cool guy. He cares about the people, and that the people are the primary focus of everything. And that's why he wasn't sure if going to Republic or the Separatists would be a good idea, because he sees them as both corrupt in their own way. Which is a good observation, because the Republic doesn't know the corruption within them. Palpatine. Anyways, so pretty much when Saul tries to escape, they get captured, and Saul's interrogated. And while he's being interrogated, he's talking to the general uh, of the Royal Army, and pretty much he's trying to persuade him to go back to the side of the people of Alderaan, because they're not there's no freedom. And the general, he probably does see this, but it's just that he doesn't want to overstep his boundaries, and just he doesn't want anything to happen. I could see his type of character. I've seen it before. And meanwhile, the rebel Steela, she does not want to, save Saul yet. They want to wait on the day of the execution, and you see that all this is kind of pressing her a little bit, because all this is on her now. She's the leader. She has to deal with the plan on how to save Saul and King Dendup. And you see the whole thing, the relationship between Lux and Steela, it's non-existent at this point, because Steela needs to focus on this main objective, which is to save everybody. And Ahsoka was kind of worried because they weren't really a united front without Saw. But on the day of the execution, they were able to do a surprise attack, and they were able to, attack the droids, and it was really nice and smooth. They had smoke grenades, and it was just going in, attacking the droids. And I kind of felt bad for this one rebel at the end because she was the one who one nominated Steela to be the leader. I believe her name was Donon. I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Donon. Pronounced that wrong. My bad. And pretty much she was like this way, and then she turns around, and then she gets shot, and I'm like, wow. And then it just makes me think, season 5 and a little bit with season 4, it's really getting darker now with this whole aspect of war because anything can happen in war. You know, um, Anybody can die, anybody can go missing, anything can happen, and just that one moment she turned around, she was done. And that's what I really like about this series, that it's really getting darker and it's really grabbing the attentions of older audience like myself. So it's not like getting corny or anything, it's legitimately, very good storytelling. And when they were all captured, pretty much, they was bidding with execution. But luckily, the general came to his senses, and he called for the royal army to back up the rebels, and they were able to escape. And Ahsoka, she couldn't help it. She had to go and help the general, in her own way. And now that they know, the Separatists know that the Jedi and the Republic are affiliated with the rebels and Alderaan, and so it's like Ahsoka can now pretty much do what she wants. She can help out as much as she can because, and possibly, the Republic will send in help, but they don't know yet. Especially with the Jedi Council, because they have to discuss things and it takes so long. But probably they will help them out. Probably at the last minute. Like watch them, they're gonna be the rebels in the next episode. Are probably gonna be pushed back, and then out of nowhere, the Republic clone troopers gonna run in, shoot all the droids, and that's it. This day is saved. Probably something like that's gonna happen. But now with the king there, it's really going to get fierce in the next episode. There's going to be a lot of action in episode 5, considering that now that the king is with the rebels and that the droid army, they're going to go relentless hunt for him. They're going to try and kill the king at all costs now. It's going to be all warfare, which is going to be very good to see, a good battle scene between the droids and the rebels. So overall, I have to say I did enjoy this episode. Um, it was a mix of good action and just good storytelling overall. I liked it. Let me know your thoughts down below, what you thought about the episode, what you liked about it, what you disliked about it, predictions for next week's episode. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and give the video a thumbs up if you did. And leave your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Thanks for watching.